An Online Activism Guide. Chapter 1. Online activism is like online marketing. Online marketing to make money is the same as for activism. You don't just create a website and they will come because your content is so fabulous. Nobody wants spam. Email marketing nowadays is supposed to be opt-in. You create a website, articles, comments on forums, etc., then invite people to your inline newsletter, etc. People constantly want fresh content for free. In my opinion, activism, at least online, has gone the way of entertainment. My activism entertainment channels are Vigilante.tv, RenZradio.com, Renzi.com. I listen to Gerald Salent on YouTube, but beyond that, YouTube is gone for good activism. There are good activist videos on Rumble.com and BitChute.com. People don't respect activists much anymore because of such an abundance of content. I go on TalkStreamLive.com to listen to some of the talkers. You can find Alex Jones of InfoWars there. It's a constant fight to keep people interested in whatever you're saying. Even then, it's just entertainment for most of them. We're not going to change the world by getting rid of central banks and defunding military budgets anytime soon unless we all unite, demand a new form of government where the people vote on the big issues online. We need a massive change of consciousness away from the representative politician form of government to everybody voting online on the big issues as individuals. Email activism info. Email activism is about two things. 1. Send articles, announcements of activist events and stuff like that to the email addresses of media. It's not commercial. You're not making money, so it is not spam. 2. I presume you have an email list of people who opted into your thing, be it a newsletter, activist cause, etc. Send them activist stuff by email. Never send unsolicited emails to private citizens. It's okay to send media, politicians, corporations, and government offices unsolicited activist emails, but you do not want to be accused of sending spam. If you want 10,000 media email addresses, go to everyonewsanyone.com. You could launch an email newsletter or discussion list and collect email addresses of interested people. Basically, you want an email list of local people on your side to send them an email telling them when you're going to have some event like a meeting, protest, march, etc. To avoid hassles when sending unsolicited emails, send something interesting, useful, and short, not tedious like a long rant. Write a subject line that's cool or somehow piques interest. Identify yourself with your name, phone number, address, fax, email and URL if you have a website. Always use BCC, blind copy notation, to hide your email addresses. Put your own email address in the to field and use the BCC field for all the others. That way, the people who receive your message won't get the email addresses of everyone else who receives the message. Use hyperlinks where appropriate, like for your website, so people can click for more information immediately. Most email software programs have an address book where you can store the email addresses of your contacts, then call them up when you want to send a message to all of them. Email addresses of activist organizations. LPCT-activists at lpct.org, they will resend your message to their activist email list. Help at lpct.org, put need assistance, activist list in the subject line and describe your troubles in the body of the email. Revolutionaryfrontlines@gmail.com. info@netaction.org. actionpointonline@cox.net. bobkincaid@gmail.com. chris@digitalmediawire.com. kathy@isiswomen.org. glaad@glaad.org. jstearns@freepress.net. sem@libertynet.org. jeff@democraticmedia.org. monitor@essential.org. Common Ground@stanleyfdn.org. wings@igc.org. deepdish@igc.org. tigertv@bway.net. info@vdb.org. rnso@wmm.com. mediamaven@cox.net. cme@cme.org. cma@chicagomediauction.org. CMW at chicagomediawatch.org. Coordinator at civicmediacenter.org. Occupy Honolulu at riseup.net. Editorial at digitalmediawire.com. Felicity Arbuthnot at yahoo.co.uk. General at occupywallsd.org. Info at adbusters.org. Info at clintonglobalinitiative.org. Info at interoccupy.org. Info at occupycolleges.org. Info at occupytogether.org. Info at we'rethe99%.us. John at heatonradionetwork.com. Letters at macleans.ca. Letters at macleans.ca. Media at occupyboston.org. Media at occupytampa.org. News at commondreams.org. Nonviolent at occupyoakland.org. occupyhonoluluga at gmail.com. occupymedia at gmail.com. occupytorontoinfo at gmail.com. occupywriters.media at gmail.com. occupywriters.submissions at gmail.com. occupywriters at gmail.com. People of Color at occupyoakland.org. Rick at therricksmithshow.com. R.W. Rozoff at yahoo.com. Scoop at huffingtonpost.com. Submissions at commondreams.org. Talkback at commondreams.org. Web at occupyoakland.org. Website at comedycentral.com. Telephone, email, fax, and letter campaign/flooding campaign. One of the most effective modes of protest in the modern era is to jam up the telephone, email, and fax lines so much that nobody can call in or out, while also sending letters through the mail because they all have to be opened, which takes time that the assistant or secretary must do at the expense of their other duties. When a corporation or government office gets 20,000 or more messages of protest in the space of a few days, all but the most stupid stop and listen. Radio talk show hosts have been instrumental in forcing changes in both the corporate and government sectors by targeting certain offices and asking the public to flood them with complaints. It works. There's no doubt about it, but most of us are not radio talk show hosts, so we either call a sympathetic one up and get him or her to help us, write a book and go on a book tour, appear as a guest on shows that will have us, send letters to the editor in newspapers, write articles for newspapers, promote our causes on our websites, and get publicity for our targeted flooding campaign any way we can. Flooding campaigns are relatively easy. They are a method of protest within the system. They don't cause much of a sacrifice of comfort level, and they're not illegal, so just about everybody can participate, but you have to get the word out somehow. That's the hard part. Politicians need votes. Corporations need customers, so if you and your people send hundreds to thousands of letters stating you had better do this, or I won't either vote for you or buy your product, plus I will tell everybody I know about you, they will listen unless they're extremely stupid, which is a just cause for impeachment or getting thrown out as head of a company. If you're conducting a letter-writing campaign, in order to ensure a high volume of letters, send the people on the mailing list of your organization 1 or 2 pre-stamped envelopes, which will make it very easy for them to send their letters. Postcards are even better because they're cheaper and the written message is open for everybody to read, including the secretaries, which might embarrass the corporate head enough to do something about it. You can even get protest postcards printed up with a funny image or message on the front that's not so insulting that it's illegal, then distribute them to your friends for mailings. If you are registered as a non-profit organization, you get special rates for bulk mailing. For some government offices, you don't need a stamp to send mail. Secretaries are screeners. They can easily toss a few hundred protest letters away, but if it's 20,000 or the phone, fax, and email lines are constantly jammed, they can't hide it from the boss. Some computer experts have rigged up software that constantly sends emails, faxes, and makes telephone calls to specific numbers, all free through the internet. There was one guy who rigged it up such that a software program constantly called a company's toll-free line and called it so much that at about 25 cents a call with 100 or so lines, they got a big phone bill at the end of the month. It doesn't matter if you supply your people with an exact script of what to put in their correspondence or let them write their own. It will be obvious that this flooding campaign originated from a central source. That won't be the issue. The issue will be whether your power in numbers of people has some effect on altering the decisions of the players in power. If you're super savvy, get both the home and the office addresses of the people you're targeting. It shouldn't be too hard with a bit of research on the internet. Send correspondence to their homes. This will really irk them. If you have an email mailing list of all your members, send them all out an email telling them to email, internet fax, and internet phone your target. While you are doing your flooding campaign, get a list of all local, relevant media addresses and ask your members to flood them with messages about your position in this issue. Tell them about the flooding campaign and ask the media to further provide these addresses or at least to show your website when they talk about it in their newspapers and on their radio and TV news shows. After it's all over, call up your target and thank him or her for having had the intelligence and the fortitude to change his point of view. Thank your members and the community in a public way too, hopefully through the media in either an open letter or in an interview on TV. Twitter and Facebook rallying of the troops. Twitter and Facebook are good because they're free and they already have a membership that are somewhat motivated to join you, plus you're easy to find on their search engines if you use the right terms. In my opinion, you have 3 good options. 1. The word activist, your location, like Activist Halifax, Activist Manchester, Vermont, Idaho Activist, Activist Regovakia. 2. The subject of your concern and the place, like Free the Cats Halifax, Free Birth Control Idaho, Kazakhstan Democracy. 3. Combine steps 1 and 2 like Free the Cats Halifax Activist, Free Birth Control Idaho Activist, Kazakhstan Democracy Activist. If it's not an emergency, your goal is to get members by posting relevant comments about the issue here and there. If it's an emergency, you have to organize a rally that you have to emphasize has to be big. The opposition and the apathetic public must see that you're huge. Pick a place for people to show up, and if your Twitter or Facebook account is anonymous and can't be traced back to you via anonymizer.com or some other software, you can encourage civil disobedience, like say if the first 100 show up we stand in front of the bridge and block traffic. The Egyptian students who started the Egyptian revolution said they did not know how many people would show up, if anyone, but they took a leap of faith, posted messages on Twitter and Facebook, and 1 million people showed up. You can do all this with your own website too, or simply a bulk email address program. Create messages and send them to your mailing list. At one rally in Athens, the cops would show up at location to arrest people. The people all took off only to resurface 20 minutes later, disrupting traffic elsewhere. They did this all day because there was somebody constantly sending messages to all the people in the crowd with smartphones.